All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so tonight we are recording a little late, but we are going to throw this in for Technical Tuesday. So, guys, Fearless, welcome. George and Joe, Lisa, Sean and Andrea, Corey, welcome, 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 you guys. Tonight we are celebrating and inspiring hope in the fact that this can be done, because right now, as you guys know, there's a little bit of fear out there, right? In the markets, there's a little bit of perhaps even discouragement, and I'm not doing this and it can't be done anymore. So we have invited you guys here tonight to show that it can be done, and it still is being done in a safe, smart, yet fearless way with support. It can't be done without fear, because this is our babies. These are our nest eggs. These are our time and our energy. There's going to be fear, but fear with support. So welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me. So we've got all of you guys across the country. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So tonight, as we do every week in IGNiTED, we are going to ask, where you at? So that's a phrase from my Newfie friends. Where you at? They always be like, or sometimes I just get a text that says yat, and they are wondering, are you home? And because I'm nearby. So my question to you tonight, guys, is yat. Where you at? So I'm going to ask each of you, where did you start? What was a turning point for you to, because we all have our story in real estate where we've started, but then there's something that happens that actually propels us. So what was that for you? Where are you now? And if there's stories for journey in between, that's what we're going to talk about. And then, guys, we're going to get each one of them to share with us their favorite tip, their favorite tool, maybe both, depending. What would they wish they could have told their newbie self, and what would they tell a newbie investor now? So George and Joe, let's start with you. Okay, you guys are out way far east, close to Halifax. Where did you start in real estate?
I started really, I think I got the tug along, Scott McGilvery and Michael Saraceni. They were doing like an information session for KeySpire.
Okay.
This would have been sometime in 2018, and it was literally down the street from our house, and so it was. I mean, it was one of those things where Scott's like, okay, how do you turn that down, for one thing?
You're coming from a guy, right?
Yeah. And yeah, he's so personable, and so it was easy to get me there.
Okay, so that was 2018, and you obviously were interested in real estate in some sort of way. So you go to this information session, you join KeySpire, I assume.
Yeah, there was then a 3-day boot camp.
Okay.
After that.
Okay. So then you join KeySpire, you start your real estate career. What are you focusing on in real estate?
So really the first thing that we did, we'd have like monthly meetups for the people who joined KeySpire, like in the Halifax area.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't actually one of the IGNiTED members was actually looking after hosting those meetups. And one night it was just one of those things where yeah, I heard that there's a boot camp coming up. This is literally how it came about. Someone had a laptop. I think they had that in the front of the room, and so it was actually that's where we got introduced to you and Corey.
Okay.
And
Did you come to our boot camp?
yeah, I think it was the first night that we saw there.
No, it wasn't the first night. It was a year later
Okay.
after we joined Key Spice.
In 2009.
Yeah, before. So we spent a little bit of time learning, but we weren't really getting the support we thought we were going to get, unfortunately, from the first group. So when we heard about you guys, we got interested and said, okay, let's do the boot camp. So I started the boot camp, but in the end, George finally joined me. And yeah, we decided to join right then and there, that first boot camp back in 2019.
19.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you started. 2019. No properties, no rental properties, an interest in real estate, obviously, but no rental properties.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Lisa, where did you start? What was your journey in real estate? And it can be from like even before you started attending events, but like, because for me, my start was like when I was like 13, I got super interested in real estate. So where did you start, and then what ignited you? Huh?
I would say that we were accidental landlords when we sold our house. So we're from Nova Scotia, but now we live in Alberta. And when we first moved here, we rented out our house in Nova Scotia. But that was not a good experience. I did not know what I was doing. So I did not have interest in in real estate investing at that time. So we ended up selling that house. And then in 2009, I went to just an evening real estate event advertised in our area. And I don't really even know why I went. I was just open. So I went and I got inspired about the possibility of real estate. So
Okay, that
then
was
I read
2009.
2009.
Okay, yeah, okay, long time.
Long time. So then I read the classic book, Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And pretty quickly, we bought our first rental property, 2009. We joined RAIN. We were members of RAIN for 12, 13 years. I wouldn't say we were active members, so it's not fair of me to say that they didn't help me get to where I was going. I basically just listened to the meetings every month.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, we bought 3 more properties. And from that time, for the next 11 years, we focused on raising our family. We were just doing life. And so we didn't buy. We self-managed the properties that we already had, 4 properties, and we were managing them from a distance. And that was really all we could do at the time.
And good for you. Good for you for knowing that and prioritizing what actually matters in life. So good.
Yeah, I mean, I look around and there's lots of, you don't have to look very far to see people doing wonderful things with real estate. And it's easy to say, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. But when I look back, like our oldest son has type 1 diabetes, and that's a full-time job. And I wouldn't trade my time with my kids and doing the best I can and having the time to do it for all those years, right?
100%. While you still had stuff on the side that you still had to work, but it wasn't
That's
so
right.
encompassing that it took away from the things that actually
That's
matter.
right. Exactly. Like I still work. I'm a physiotherapist, and my husband works. We're obviously work employees. So then the kids moved out, as kids do. And then we thought, okay, now let's get back into real estate a little bit more now that we have some time to do it. So we looked around, what was going on and kind of where to start. And we ended up joining Fearless. Someone recommended Fearless to us. We joined it. And then right away, you guys were doing a boot camp. So we went to the boot camp, or I went to the boot camp. And I really, really liked, the things I liked about the boot camp, Tiffany, were the goals, the who am I as a person, the be a good human. And that really resonated with me. So we joined boot camp, right after that, or we joined IGNiTED right after that. And the thing about real estate investing, which I knew at the time, but I didn't really practice, was the networking. And so with joining a group like that, or any kind of real estate investing group, as long as it's a group that resonates with your values and your goals, that's really key, because it's like an instant group of real estate investing friends. So it just makes life a lot easier, right?
It does. You
So
have someone that you can talk to about it that actually get it instead of being like, okay, well then stop doing it, dude. Like, or
exactly,
well, you got yourself
exactly.
into this, so what do you want? Like, yeah,
Yes. And a group that like was a great group, very knowledgeable, but it was very large and not it was very general. It's almost like you could take from it what you wanted to, but it wasn't very intense. You know,
okay, yeah,
information was there, but it wasn't very yeah, it just was a bigger group, I guess.
true.
So we did that, and then we got a lot more focus, a lot more clarity, and moved forward from there. Bought some more properties, bought a multifamily.
Hey, hold on. We're gonna get to that part in a minute.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We want to save the, punchlines.
Where are we at? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that was what year ish?
We joined IGNiTED in spring of 2022.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So like 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Am I math? Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
No, three
no,
and a half.
3.5 years ago.
3.5. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not a numbers person.
Time
Yeah.
flies. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay. So that's where you're at. So had some real estate experience, kind of paused to live life, which is great. That was, and then 2022, you kind of ramped up. George and Joanne was 2019, you started ramping up. Okay. Sean and Andrea, where were you at? Where did your real estate start? And the reason we're visiting all these stories, guys, is because we know that some of you guys live in that same spot. You're there too. Maybe you want to do more real estate, but you've got a young family that needs you right now. Good for you. You still have time. Take the time off, be with your family, do what's important, and come back to it later like Lisa has. And you're going to hear Lisa's story and how that has worked really well. Sean and Andrea, what about you guys?
So actually, very similar to George and Joe. We had always been happy renters. We're in Toronto. I was born and raised in Edmonton, but we were happy renters in Toronto and living life, and in our 40s. And it hit me when our parents started to have health issues, both of our mums, and we kind of had a moment where we're like, oh my goodness, we have four parents. Three immigrant parents, only one parent with a pension. We didn't have a big savings, and it hit us that this was 2016 and it hit us 2015, 2016. Oh man, we need to find a way to create a little bit more income for maybe not just our retirement, but to help our parents in whatever they might need. So that was kind of like, what can we do? And we started looking for ways, and we knew we weren't stock market type people. Real estate, I mean, I was addicted to HGTV. So, I mean, I was watching income property, I was watching all these things happen. And Sean's a handy, like he's a contractor, does renovations. And I thought, great, what about flipping houses or something? Or we could do this, like you could do this. I mean, so that's kind of where I went, and I started going online. And that's where I came across Scott McGillivray doing his road show. And he was coming to Toronto to do an information session. And this was 2016, December or November. And then I told my husband, I'm like, hey, let's go to this, let's just go listen to this, it's free, whatever. And we got inspired in that 2 hours of, okay, this is possible. It was very convincing. We did the 3-day boot camp. We did not become Keyspire members, but we took that education, and it was in that 3-day workshop where we saw you doing a presentation, or it was a slideshow, but your images was on there about joint venturing. And I said, I know her, and I think we need to call and touch base with her. And so that's what we did. And you were launching Fearless, and we we lurked in Fearless, in the Fearless real estate group, for probably a year or two, while we read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, while we tried to learn as much and keep going to free seminars and workshops that all we could. And then we in 2018 we thought, well, let's buy a property. And so we bought a property for ourselves, our first principal residence.
That was principal residence, but we didn't do it with the mind of this is finally going to be our house. We wanted to do it because we were looking at the rents going up in Toronto, and so we thought we got to buy this house. And I was like, okay, how can we duplex it right away? Like that was the first thing of how to do it.
So that we could live, you know, with a lower rent, but still try this whole concept, this house, you know, basement suite thing. And we didn't tell anybody we
Great
were
way to
doing
begin.
it. We didn't have any official training. We were just like, let's just see if this works. And like, we just did it. And then, you know, it took us about 2 years to do it, which, you know, in retrospect, we realize how, you know, time.
I put in every screw. So,
But that's, you were doing a boot camp, you announced a boot camp. We did the boot camp in 2020. And then,
I want to say something though. I just want to back up to the 3-day boot camp that we did with
Keyspire.
Keyspire. We sat like mice in the back corner.
Right?
Yeah.
We sat like mice. We were just so quiet, and we were like
Terrified.
this, and you know, and people said networking, and I'm like,
It's intimidating.
like
Yeah.
Totally.
whatever does that mean?
And we felt like you know, yeah, it was a lot
Like
of
the
people,
little fish,
you
like
little
the
fish
little fish in the big room.
we had no business being there. And, you know, we were just like,
Because we didn't even own a house at that time.
yeah, you know, so, but your boot camp definitely, yeah, it inspired us. We thought we could do
It totally
this.
changed our, like the way we were.
Yeah,
It changed. It took a while, but the head
yeah, the
kind of
mind
actually
shift.
changed. So.
And but it takes a while, but the boot camp
Yes.
helped, and then yeah,
Like a few months.
we
A few
joined
months.
IGNiTED right after that. Yeah.
And you know what? I think like, so Sean, Corey and I were the people in the back of the rain room back in the day, Lisa, when we were just sitting there and we were the mice and we were like, what do you mean network? How do you just walk up to someone you don't know? And that's why part of what we teach and taught from Keyspire stages, from rain stages, from at every stage is we teach you how to actually go out there and do that, because it was a stretch for us. So you learned, you said, Sean, in a few months, amazing. It took us like 2 years to like stretch out and do it, because it was really hard to do. But when you do it, that's when your investing really takes off in whatever way you want it to. It doesn't have to take off huge. And I'm going to say this again and again and again in boot camp that's coming up this weekend, guys. I'm going to say this again and again and again. You don't have to go big. And in fact, please don't go big, because those that go big and overextend regret financially, emotionally, family-wise, physically, health-wise. There's so many regrets. Please just temper yourself. And we made that mistake, so that's how I can say it. I'm just saying. But yeah, like, you don't have to go big, but you can at least go, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 2020.
That was 2020.
Okay, I should have written down these dates, but all right. Corey, where were you at? You started, you've got a long story, so you probably have to like try to even figure out where did you start, because there's a lot.
Yeah, I was lucky, I guess, because my dad was a realtor and they invested. So I sort of grew up in it a little bit more. Sometimes I laugh saying, I swear my dad's parenting handbook was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So it was like, oh, we gotta go do this at rentals. And it, what sort of was the bane of my childhood, obviously stuck with me. And so in about, I guess it's hard to pinpoint. I can't remember, but I think consciously started investing in about 2005.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's been a while.
20 years.
Yeah,
Long
had
time.
4 or 5 single family properties, I guess, probably purchased one a year between 2005 and 2010. And then kind of hit a wall, also had kids, work, life, all that kind of stuff. And so it was like, yeah, I just don't really like, it feels like we've gone as far as we can go. But sort of kept managing them, and they were, the side hustle. And then in 2016, I went through a divorce, which I sort of realized that it was more my passion, not his. So it took every ounce of me to figure out how I could retain these properties, as on my own. And so I managed to do that, but I was at that time just starting real estate sales. So I was newly self-employed, and banks were literally laughing at me. They didn't even know how I managed to retain what I had, and would they give me another penny? No. So I sort of thought, okay, well, I've saved this, my little portfolio, and that's probably my story for now. Yeah, so just kept going with kids and jobs, and I was a paralegal at that time, and I did work as a real estate paralegal. So I always have kind of been in the industry. I was self-managing, so touching on those two sides of it, and also started selling. And then
So you became a realtor at that time as well. So you were kind of immersing, like
yeah,
all in. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Okay.
had done, investment and then property management for myself and people that I knew. Then I was a paralegal in the real estate realm as well. And then I got into sales kind of when my kids got bigger. So it's always been real estate related. I think it's just in my blood. So, and then, so that was 2016. Saved the little portfolio I had and kind of just moseyed on. And then 2020 was sort of when it was like, you know what, like there's got to be ways to like grow this or keep going somehow. I was a little more established in my self-employment as a realtor, thought that the banks might take a second look now. And then we also were introduced just from fellow investors to Corey and Tiffany. So it was like, oh, okay. So I started infiltrating Fearless, joined IGNiTED. Yeah, and since then it's just been sort of the momentum, and the aha moments and the network and all the resources that it's like you can get past this wall. So yeah. So
And I love too that you've taken it and made it your own. Like you've taken the basics and the fundamentals and the standards and all that, which you had, and you're like, okay, great. Now how do I scale this? And you scaled that. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit now too, but then you went, okay, wait, this part isn't working for me anymore. So now I'm going to even more tweak this so that it does work for me. And it's super cool what you're doing. So can't wait to get into that. And that was when was your boot camp? When did you join boot camp?
2019, I think, and then joined IGNiTED 2020 and have been here ever since. Yeah. And so the few little properties turned into a bunch more, but sounds like we'll touch on that next.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it all, like intriguing, but I don't know if I'm doing a good job of it. Okay. So we got where you all started. So let's go back to George. Thanks, Corey. Okay, so George and Joanne, let's go back to you. So we got where you started. You went through journey. We met in Halifax when we did our IGNiTED motorhome tour. We met. I remember the day. I remember George walking up to me and smiling and going to shake my hand, and I was like, I don't recognize, because you just looked so different in person than online. Anyways, then we had dinner that night, had a great dinner. Where are you at now? What are you working on right now?
So right now, both my parents passed away, and then there was some properties of theirs that were in the estate. And my grandfather had some land in Bridgewater, which is like an hour away from Halifax. And I knew before my dad passed away, God, probably maybe 10 years before that. It's like, yeah, you and your brother and sister have got three lots, basically three lots each. And that's all he really said. And it's like, okay. And didn't think anything of it. I did see a plan at some point in my dad's office. And so there were the three lots, and then as it turns out, like there was like another 60 acres. And so then in 2019, after my mother passed away, it was kind of like I actually went and contacted a surveyor in Bridgewater just to see whether the 9 lots were whether you could actually even build on them. And as it turns out, you could. Some of them were like literally they'd be impossible to build a house on.
Okay, I want to interject because I remember this part. So I remember when you guys had these lots and it was like, okay, they're not worth a whole ton. They're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. We're not, our municipality hasn't expanded out that way. It's gonna be really hard to build on these spots. Like there was every reason in this world for you to do what you were thinking of doing and listing them and selling them, which would have given you a chunk of change and it would have been great. I mean, I don't know if you're comfortable saying how much or whatever, but it wasn't life changing, but it was pretty great. But instead, you were like, no, we're going to explore what more can we do with this. And then I remember that kind of stalled. It was like, okay, you did enough, you looked into it, and then it was like, okay, well, we don't really want to sell it, we're not going to sell it, we want to keep hanging on to it, we don't know what to do with it, but maybe one day we'll sell, but right now we're just going to hang on to it, but we're not going to do anything with it. So that was 5 years ago now, let's say. So now in the last year, things drastically changed. And I'm going to say that not everybody would have had that experience with that land. That land would have gotten sold at some point, who knows when. And someone would have built a beautiful home on it and it would have been their family home and that would have been amazing too. But instead, your brains switched and went, wait, there's got to be an opportunity here. I just need to figure out what it is. And you went to town. So, well, out of town, but so Bridgewater, what is Bridgewater now?
So Bridgewater, if anyone doesn't know, the main employment in Bridgewater is there's a Michelin tire plant. And it's 10 minutes away from where the land is.
Which means employees, which means income, which means renters, which means buyers, which means all of these things to someone who knows what to look for, right? It means population increase, it means in migration, not out, all of these things for a piece of land that seemed like it was kind of a bit, not a dud, but like not gonna really do too much. So you meet a developer and you propose a development.
I'll back up a little bit.
Okay.
And so as much as what I thought that my dad didn't know or didn't do, in 1993, he had a subdivision plan done.
I didn't know that.
And it came up during the search, like property online search. And it has a lot of similarities as to what it's going to be.
What is what going to be? Okay, I'm going to give the punchline because you guys are freaking developers now. You guys are developing a subdivision. You have sold lots. You've taken that land from somewhat negligible in value to extremely valuable. Yes? Can we celebrate this a little bit, please? I know it sounds like a little bit of tooting your own horn, but really you created something that would not have been there for 99% of people. So yay.
Yeah.
George.
I mean,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when you start looking at the numbers, I mean, there was an appraisal done on the property just for the estate, so that was a little under 200,000.
Which is great. I mean, that's great. That's good money. That's your parents drop that down to you. That is amazing.
Yeah, and
However,
I even entertained an offer so it would have been last summer. I entertained an offer for the whole 60 acres plus the 9 lots for it was about 150. just to basically unload it.
Right, because sometimes the work that has to go into thinking about how to make it happen, and it's too much to do on our own. And so sometimes it's just like, okay, well, you know what? I'm happy with this. It makes a difference in my life. Let's go with it, right? And again, great. That's not a bad thing. But
Yeah.
you had your eyes looking up a little bit more, George.
Yeah,
And
so I got introduced to an engineer who lives in Bridgewater, who he did his own smaller subdivision. I think there was 24 lots just outside of Bridgewater. So I met him, I think twice. And he took me around, showed me what he did with his subdivision. And I think it was on the second time or third time that I met him, I said, do you want a partner?
yeah, amazing. You saw the opportunity. Okay, so the beauty in what you offered him was you had the land, which is the hardest part as a developer, to hold this land and pay for the land. For how long? Who knows? It could, you think it's this, it's usually this. That's so difficult. But you're saying, hey, listen, I've got the land. I'm okay sitting on it like this. Why don't we talk about building? And I'll be their partner in that. And your brain went to a completely different place than 99% of the population will go to, in saying, here's an opportunity. So you ended up partnering, you ended up building this development. Where are we at right now with Bridgewater? We just call it Bridgewater. I didn't even know that it was a town. I mean, I just call it Bridgewater as your development. So how is Bridgewater, your development, doing?
Yeah, so I'll go back then again to last December. So we set up a company. And I don't know whether it was Joe's suggestion. Anyway, I went and got the property reappraised. And the appraisal came back. Oh, it was like last December sometime, for over $500,000.
Well, there's a nice lift.
So there's a $300,000 lift right there.
And Joe's going, woohoo, I can retire. Let's do it.
Well, yeah, it was just, it was we knew it was worth money and more than what we were told it was worth, just because there's several miles along a river. So quite a few lots could go there, and we knew there'd be more in between. But nobody was really giving us a number that sounded reasonable. So it's through all the learning and everything that we, kept asking and looking around, we kind of knew it was worth more than this 150 that was offered to us. And I guess in a way we were getting a little bit tired of, what are we going to do with it then? We have to decide something. It was a big part of our learning and trying to figure out what we were going to do with this, and really to fund our retirement. So finally, in asking around and not giving up and meeting other people and getting more opinions, not stopping at the first one, the second one, the third one, whatever, until we finally fell on that person who understood what we needed and what we're looking for. We're not engineers. We don't know how many lots and what can go where, and is it buildable or not, or any of that. And we didn't, it took us that long just to fall into the right spot with the right person. And it's,
well,
yeah.
It's that thing where there's no such thing as luck, right? It's opportunity meets preparation. And so you had done your preparation, and you then sought out that opportunity, and you made it happen, you guys. You made it happen. It's really awesome what you did with it. So, okay, so you're also selling a place. You're looking at now retirement, which is amazing and awesome. Being able to, George, you're retired. Joe, you're on your way to retirement. You've got this development, and really now you're in a position of being able to have choice in your life. that you didn't have before, and that's what we want. Now, whether that's to work or not work, that's to live in Yarmouth or in Halifax, doesn't matter. It's to have the choice to choose. And you are there. Congratulations. It's amazing. And you made it happen. And I hope you can be proud of that. So one thing I want Fearless to learn off of this is, for one, there's opportunities all around you. We're going to talk about this in boot camp. There's opportunities all around you. You just don't necessarily know what to look for. For two, you guys networked with people like crazy and talked about and brainstormed for ideas and thoughts and what should we do here and what should we do there. And you did not. So you networked, then you also didn't give up. And now you're reaping the rewards. So you're developers. Like, who knew, right? Like, I love how you said that, Joe, that like your kids are like, what? What's happening here? Like, how can this, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? And that's a pretty cool legacy just in itself. So we're very proud of you, and thank you for sharing that. And we're going to get back to you for your tip or your tool, the thing that you would want newbies to know. Lisa.
Yes.
All right. So we left off at, you had a few properties long term. You then, paused and raised a family, but kept them going on the side, kept them whatever, just in the background, slowly working at it. And enter 2022, 2022, and you decide to scale. So what did that look like for you, and where are you at now?
So we joined IGNiTED, and we took a look at the portfolio we already had. They weren't cash flowing well at that time, so we turned a couple of them into short-term rentals. We ran them as short-term rentals for almost 3 years, 2.5 years. And then we realized, because we were long distance, we just found that it was tough to run them in a small town where it's hard to get good staff when you're not right there. And we closed them down. And so now they're executive rentals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that must have been while I was away.
Yes. So 2 of them are now executive rentals. So they're still cash flowing nicely, not as nicely as if they were short-term rentals, but also better than if they were long-term rentals that were unfurnished.
Okay, so I remember when you first joined IGNiTED, and you were like, Kate, this is my first order of business. I need to stabilize my portfolio. I'm not cash flowing, which is fine. I can cover the downfall or whatever. And we were like, no, like and you were like, oh man, that sounds like a lot of work, but I'm up for it. I'll do it. And you did it. You became a super host. You became super busy and engaged in Airbnb. You know exactly what you're doing. I didn't know that you then transfer them to executive. So now you took these properties from being not cash flowing to cash flowing quite well through Airbnb to now cash flowing decently, but without all the extra work.
That's right.
Okay, so how many pivots are in there, and how much work were you willing to do in order to make it work? That is a really, really important thing. Okay.
Well, I think throughout this whole process, basically going to momentum calls every week was a huge thing for me, because we needed to get, pardon me?
What's a momentum call?
A momentum call is through IGNiTED. You meet once a week. It used to be Melanie Robinson, and now it's Angie that hosts it. And every week you have the same 4 questions, and it basically makes you accountable, answers any questions that you have. What goals do you want? So over that time, I got a lot of clarity, and I think that's so important, because it's such a wide field in real estate investing that encompasses such a large amount. So you need to know how much time do you have? What are your skills? What are your interests? What are your financial resources? All those things. And then you need to come up with a picture of what works. Like, if you are not handy and you have no time and you have no building skills, then you're probably not going to want to do flips. If you're not interested, you don't have the time to run Airbnbs, you're probably not going to want to do that. If you don't want to deal with people, you're probably not going to be a property manager. So it was really important to get clarity, and it took a while to get clarity around what did I want to do and what fit our life, and what were my goals, and how am I going to get real estate to reach my goals. So having Airbnbs, it's also important to stabilize the properties you already have. So having the Airbnbs was part of that process. I shouldn't call them Airbnbs, they're short-term rentals, but
Yeah, right. Sorry.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was part of that process, and it worked out really good until it didn't. And I did have good staff for a bit, and then yeah, it just became too much of a headache. So
Yeah. So then, but then you didn't give up and say there's nothing I can do. You figured out then a way to, and it's funny because your story goes the opposite of mine. Mine was we were long-term rental, and then we went to executive rentals, and then COVID hit, and so we were minus $700 a month for our rental or whatever. Turned it into an executive rental, corporate rental I called it. And all of a sudden now we're cash flowing about $400 a month. Great, I'm happy there. And then COVID hit, and we had to turn it into an Airbnb because there was no longer any corporate trans. So it's funny, you just have to adjust as the market adjusts. That's just what you do.
that's right. You do what you have to do. Failure is not an option. I mean, you just do what you have to do, and you have to be solution oriented, and you have to persevere. There's always a way.
Always a way. Did you do it on your own?
No. No, not even close.
Lots of support, right?
Lots of support. And actually, yeah, someone even I didn't even come up with the idea on my own. Someone just mentioned it to me, and then I looked into it and went on AirDNA and realized, wow, I could make, almost 3 times as much as an Airbnb. So they did very well as Airbnbs. And then having the support and the people to bounce ideas off of, and I mean, it's just night and day. You really need support, and just more fun. Not to mention, it's just more fun to do it with people.
Right. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you go from having these to you end up jumping into, in the last year, so you've taken us on your journey, which I've loved, is multifamily.
Yes, I wouldn't say it was a jump because
well, it was, but okay.
We did have to buy one, but it took a long time. We took 2 multifamily courses. We took a capital raising course. We took a year to look for and find the property that fit what we were looking for. We analyzed a lot of properties. Turns out there's a lot of multifamily properties that are for sale, that are overpriced. So we finally found one, and yeah, we bought it in April. It was undervalued. We got it for a very good price, so $240,000 below appraisal value, and it has lots of room for lift. So we've been lifting, we've been renovating. It's 15 units. We renovated 8 units so far. And multifamily buildings are appraised based on their net operating income. So the goal is what you want to do is increase your income, aka your rent or storage or laundry, whatever, and decrease your expenses, and that increases what the value of what your building is worth. So that's called stabilizing, and so we're working to stabilize it for a year. We're now 7 months or so into it, and then we'll refinance, pull the capital back out, pay off our private lenders, give some money back to our investors, and do it again.
And do it again. Boom. That's amazing. Okay, so I love too that your story is not a short one. It started a long time ago. It started slowly and smartly. It took into account your lifestyle and your family. And then when it was time, you hit your stride and you did it smartly. You didn't get emotional and buy something that didn't work. You did what you could when you should. So and now you're like stabilizing that place and doing amazing and awesome, and I love it. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's actually so awesome. Like, it's so inspiring, and to see it done reasonably, I gotta say, is for me just so much respect. Like, I love the reasonable approach. Okay, I've got 10 minutes left here, guys. I'm gonna thank you, Lisa. I'm
I
gonna
hear
come back to you guys each for your tip. We've got like 30 seconds per tip that we'll have. Sean and Andrea, what are you guys up to? It's your turn. We've seen where you are, where you started. Where are you at now? What are you working on? Kind of crazy, kind of huge, but you've incrementally taken these steps, and now you're finding completely different new ways to make things work. So what are you working on?
Okay, so well, I'll just back up 1 second. So we took
Yeah.
camp in 2020, and then once we opened up the modules and the courses and all the training and everything that's in IGNiTED, we're like overwhelmed. There's like Lisa said, there's so many ways you can go with investing in real estate. So we knew we like it was a few months and we were almost like we don't know which way we don't know what market we want to be in. We don't know which strategy we want to use. We're like, but when we learned that's where we also learned about private lending, and we were like, oh, so you know, that's something we did before we even purchased our next income property because we didn't know what that would look like. We're like, well, let's put our money to work. That's something we learned about, right? That we didn't know was an option. So we lent some money out, and then we kept taking, listening to the trainings and all of that. And then what we did is, since we had done the basement suite and we kind of understood it and got it, we decided, okay, we know it. It was COVID time. Let's just stick to that. We know it. But we did it in New Brunswick. So we learned how to invest out of town, which is not something we thought we would do, but we learned why we should, because we're in Ontario.
The market dictated that made sense. And so that's what you did. You didn't go emotionally.
No.
You did it because the market made sense.
And that's it. So we learned that. We're like, oh, we don't need to actually buy a place that we can drive to. So we did. And we did end up driving there because it was COVID. So Sean got to do a lot more renovations there. But yeah, so we did 3 more of those. We ended up selling one. We still have 2. We assigned another, which is something else we learned how to do.
And we put offers on 4,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that we learned with the being in IGNiTED, is just that we don't have to use the bank. Like Corrine mentioned before, that maybe the bank will look at me a little nicer now, but I was self-employed.
Yeah.
So then we're like, okay, is there another way to do this? And yeah, that was what we learned. There are other ways to buy property.
Yeah.
And
not having
so
to use the bank.
that allowed us to buy. We'd never thought to buy 2 houses at the same time.
Yeah.
And then we ended up putting offers on 4. So one of them flipped.
And you know what, you guys are going to teach that in boot camp this weekend, or Andrea, you are.
Yeah.
In that there's a different way that when someone says no, it's not a no. It's just okay, well, I got to figure this out then.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did.
That's it.
And even with joint ventures, like we learned and based our whole portfolio on joint ventures, but right now the environment is not conducive to joint ventures unless you're going to sign something you don't want to sign because you can't sleep at night.
Yep.
So if that's the case, then what do? You pivot, and you guys are pivoting again, and you're making it happen. So you're going to teach us about some of those things on Saturday.
Just some of the options that are available when you can't just go to the bank and get a mortgage. There's other people's money and other ways to get financing and to buy property if that's what you want to do. But so what we're doing now, well, Sean's tired of renovating. And we also wanted to
Not that I didn't want to renovate. I wanted to create new places, not just flip places, not just put in nicer countertops for a higher value. I saw the need was to create like new
and there is
places to live.
There is a need for that. So we have a very unique opportunity in Canada right now to be some of those housing providers in one of the best environments that we will see in our generation right now for creating that housing. So, okay, so what are you creating?
So we are now creating a 90 unit apartment building here in Ontario. Which is crazy.
And I'm going to put in every screw.
No, he's not. We have a building.
Seriously, did you hear yourself?
No, it won't be. But yeah, so this was it. We wanted to contribute to the housing situation. So when we were approached by another couple, so again, talking about partnerships, never in our wildest dream, it wasn't on our vision board or master plan to own an apartment building or build an apartment building or go into developing something, especially that huge. But again, you meet people, you network, and another couple at an investor group, you know, they said, would you guys want to partner with us on this? We want to do land development. We have the training in this. You guys have a big network. You can capital raise. Let's get together. And we were like, it intrigued us. We looked at the numbers, whatever. And, you know, it's been now 2 years. It's a process. This is a longer play game, land development. We're learning. But yeah, December 13th will be a big day for us when we get our approval, that we've got the rezone approval to do this. But it's
kind of like what George said, that when you start opening up and seeing different ways, then you see other people who are doing it,
Yeah.
right? And you know, George made a connection with another engineer that was doing it the same way. So and that we would never never have thought of doing this.
This was
5 years ago.
No. 5 years ago, we were like one property for each parent, 4 properties, maybe one for him, one for 6 properties. We're good.
Right. And I'd put in the screw.
But you are good.
We're good.
Which you are good at that point. Yeah. Like that is a good stop point. That's good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for us, we never had, not that we didn't want more or have bigger vision. We just were like, that was the goal for us. But then you get into it, you realize it's fun. You meet people, opportunities present themselves, and you're like, yeah, this would be really good to be a part of this, right? And so that's now where we're at.
Amazing.
Yeah. And if you ask me what I want to do next, it's going to be a motel. Just saying.
A motel. Oh, girl, you're crazy. Motel isn't the motel? What's the difference between a motel and a hotel?
No, but I want a little boutique motel.
Boutique.
Yeah.
Oh, boutique. Okay.
No.
And
where you're like service first.
And yeah, like.
But it's all automated. I don't need to be there. Anyways, that's a whole.
Okay, boutique. Okay, I get that. I'm picturing a motel like those on Stony Plain Road in Edmonton.
No, it's basically buying one of those and in the right location, maybe by the water, and you know, turning it into something.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna come visit.
All right.
Okay, thank you guys. And we'll see you on Saturday. You guys are going to teach some of those strategies, which is nice. All right, Corey. I love your story too, because, and you know, I've been asked if I'm a feminist. I'm not, but I do like when whoever it is does things for themselves and not because they have what they feel is anyone else that they have to lean on. And so you have gone from having these rentals long-term, went through your divorce, having kept those rentals, moved into real estate sales. You've done all kinds of things that way. And now you are doing what? What are you doing? Where are you at now?
So where did I leave? Since joining IGNiTED, they felt like some stepping stones. So got a few more single family, just, you know, the up down type thing. And that was comfortable at the time. Then got into short-term rentals. Not my favorite, to be honest. So we've got 2 of those, but I think that's enough. And then bought my dream acreage and have shop space that I lease. And so like did the biggest house hack you can imagine to be in the most beautiful location. So it was, you know, it's not always just for revenue. Like you can have your cake and eat it too in so many aspects of life if you just look at it on like, how can this pay for itself, or how, you know what I mean?
Thank you. You can have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't have to be the end goal and your destination. You can actually enjoy the journey. Is that what you're saying, Corey?
Yeah, you totally can. Done some wild and wacky things, even like renting a boat because I wanted a boat. Like, just try it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rent my kids, I tell them, if I had the opportunity. So like
would anyone rent them though? I don't know. Mine, no one would rent.
That's right. So, and then in the last 18 months got into multifamily development. So I kind of was like a little bit over old yucky houses, and it was like, I want to be in heels looking at blueprints and like, this is the new chapter. And so, yeah, you guys have probably followed along with Lux. So that's 10-unit multifamily in Calgary, and we're at drywall stage. So that one's come along and learned so much, and another 9-unit multi kind of in preliminary stages. But it seems like multifamily is going to be so maybe a burr or something next, but
oh, okay.
like And it's funny how it changes too, because I think 3 years ago, I think Lisa, I probably been in a class with all of you, multifamily, and I was just like, nah, I don't know, like, it's not calling me. I feel like more doors, more problems. And like, I just wasn't like, and then now all of a sudden to hear it again and see it, and it's like, oh, like I'm reignited in a bit of a different direction. And it looks like, yeah. So, but,
so you're doing a 10-unit purpose-built development where you plan to keep it. You don't plan to sell it after. So these are going to be 10 rental units that you built and are keeping and will rent out long term.
yes.
Yeah, pretty sweet. And now you're looking at another 9-unit one. By the way, I want to come celebrate with you when you cut the ribbon on the 10 on Lux. So you have to let me know when that is. And we're going to do a little ignited dinner that night. So
Yes, anyone in Alberta, I'd love that. That would be so awesome.
Right. Or in Halifax. I mean, or Ajax, or no, Ajax? No, Durham region. I don't know. I'm sorry. No, what's the one? I know where you're from. Durham. I know it's in Durham. It is Ajax. Anyways, all of you. Or Saskatoon. Andrew says
Everyone come. Everyone come.
Yes, we're gonna do a meetup.
Can do
Okay,
live.
so Corey, let's start with you. What would you say to someone who is starting out and is kind of like in that spot that we all started in, where we're like, I don't know. I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds great, but I don't know that I can do it or don't. Like, what tip or tool do you have that you kind of wish you knew ahead of time, or both?
Yeah, like to me, honestly, it's the community, the networking, and the people, right?
I agree.
Yeah, and it's not all groups. I mean, I was part of RAIN for a long time, and I concur with Lisa. It felt big, and I stayed sort of a mouse in that room. So it's just like kind of finding your tribe, people that align with you. Yeah. And then just really, I don't know, like you get out what you put in too, I think, right? And so you can't just be a spectator and expect amazing things to happen. Obviously, you've got to apply, but I think the belief grows when it's not just somebody in a brochure in another country that did it one time, right? You're in these rooms weekly, on phone calls, on Zooms with all these people, and they're doing it around you. And so no need to reinvent the wheel, like just figure out, what it is, and maybe you need to try a few things before you find your lane. But it's definitely the people for me. So it's not super high tech. It's like old school, actually.
I actually totally agree. It is all about the people, like whether it's tenants or raising money or just strategizing or what, it's everything is about the people, 100%.
Yeah.
So Corey, you're going to be teaching about development because you turned and pivoted. So you're going to teach about development on Saturday at boot camp, because you had to, again, pivot to this role. So the networking at boot camp is also something that is fantastic, because you meet other people and get inspired by the people that are doing it and or trying to do it. And you're all climbing that mountain together, right? So yeah, look forward to hearing you and Colin teach us what you got on development, because Colin's been doing it a long time too, right?
Yes, yeah. He's a bigger wealth of knowledge, but it's just same thing. He's one of those in my corner, and it's surrounding yourself with people that are sort of have either gone before or going where you're going, right? And just linking arms and learning together, like, and yeah, everything changes, the market, the economy, but there are fundamentals that stay the same. And I think if you stick to them and sort of make sure you're in the right circles.
Yeah, because you know what? Some circles will tell you that the fundamentals are good, but also go for it, do it, or come on, and that is completely emotional thinking. And so you need to be in a circle where they're going to go, look, I know you really want to do this, and I know it sounds great, but can you put on the back burner until you know this, and this, because we love you and we don't actually want to see you get burnt.
No, so true, so true. And it, like, the rah dies off, right? And then you're left standing, or not. So yeah,
Totally.
And relationships, and I think Andrea said it, like, it's just fun. too. So I don't know.
Well, you know what's something I appreciate about you, Corey? You can teach all of us in circles, running around. Like you can teach us so much, every single one of us, and yet you show up a lot of times for our Ignited calls when all you're going to do is give. You're not going to take. You're not going to learn. You're not going to get anything from us. You're showing up because you're giving, and yet you still show up, and that to me is like just so important in showing me how you got to where you are, because you gave even when there was nothing to get, and yet you got so much out of it yourself. But anyways, I do appreciate that about you so much, because you show up just to give, and that's pretty special.
Thank you. And I think, but you know what? I think I've gotten just as much as I need, and it ebbs and flows, right? There's certain times when you need from the group, and then there's other times when you have things to offer. So just keep coming back. And who knows? Like, that's what I love about this whole industry too, is like, it's probably not even on your radar yet, who you're going to meet and where that's going to take you. So just be open, like look under every rock, have every conversation. Don't assume anything.
Right.
But
you know what? Be safe. Yes, but be safe. I'm perpetually amazed at how many deals get done among all of you guys. Like, it's like, I'm like, oh, you guys you're working together. Oh, you're working together. Like, there's just so many deals that get done right, even on this screen, like between each other. It's like, wow. It's good. Okay, thank you, Corey. So your tip would be networking. All right, Andrea, we're gonna go backwards. Andrea and Sean. Thank you, Corey, for joining us tonight. We're going to cut her off right after this. So, but we'll see you on Saturday. You're going to teach about development. Andrea and Sean, what do you got? What's your best tip?
I think what I really loved tip from boot camp was just about throwing it back to when you're networking with people. Because I'm a guy, so I'm all about the physics and the money and the data and all this kind of stuff, and I can get excited about that, sure, and it is exciting, but it's seeds, right? Not overwatering, and always throwing it back.
The conversation.
Say 2 or 3 lines and then throw it back and allow space for the other person. And when you're talking with people, sometimes it'll go a totally different area that you didn't expect, and then often they'll come back and say, well, you said something before. Tell me, you said you had a deal, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that deal? And then, something like that. But you always have to allow, just throwing it back. It's a baseball, like it's a baseball conversation. It's a baseball.
I love it. Okay, and we're going to talk more about, so if you're not quite sure what he's talking about, you're going to learn that in boot camp. So if any one of you guys are joining us for boot camp this weekend, it is Thursday, Friday, and Monday, 7 to 9, and then Saturday, 11 to 1. I am so confused with the time zones, and I just got back from Italy, which is just screwing me up even more. It's brutal. But yes, all Eastern times. Okay, Andrea, what's your tip?
I think not necessarily strictly boot camp, but just in terms of real estate and investing, I mean, just start. You're never going to feel ready. You're never going to know it all. You're never going to know enough. Like, you're going to learn once you start. Until you put that offer in, like, honestly, it just, So fear is real, but just, you have to start. You can take some time. You don't want to rush into anything, but you have to start. So I think, ask anyone, they're going to say, we wish we had started sooner, but whatever. I mean, so take your time. Yes. You got to learn a little bit. Yes. But take that first step, do something, whether it's investing $10,000 into something or putting an offer on a property or whatever it is for you, but just making that connection, just start.
Yeah. Momentum, right? Momentum. I love it. Okay. I got to write all these down. So I'm going to go off the replay. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. And we'll see you on Saturday to teach us about private lending. That'd be awesome. All right, Lisa.
Hi. So, I agree with everything that's being said, of course. Education, networking, that's where, IGNiTED is where we found our amazing partners on our building, right? Being open, all kinds of, there's so much to learn. But I'm going to throw something at you that you may not have heard in this group before is, Tiffany, you are a fantastic presenter and you're easy to talk to. You're great to talk to people. But if you're one of those people like I was, sometimes still am, I'm not super comfortable talking in a group or networking, talking to people. So I joined Toastmasters. I don't know if
Yes,
that's ever
I
been
remember that.
mentioned, but it's been fantastic. Michael Ponte actually mentioned it to us, and it's been really great to help because you can't. It doesn't matter what you know or who you know if you don't know how to express yourself and say what is on your mind. And it's been really good. So I don't hear that mentioned around too much in these groups, but
No, it's true. It's true. And I remember going to one of my first like business networking things from our previous business. And they were like, join Toast. Everybody should join Toastmasters. Every single person in this world should join Toastmasters. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing ever. But I remember, and you started doing Facebook Lives, you started pushing out of your comfort zone,
yes.
and your momentum really has just absolutely taken off. So yeah, brilliant. I love it. Okay, Toastmasters, that's a tip.
Okay.
Okay, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, George and Joanne. Joanne, what's your tip?
So many great things have already been said, but for me, to add on to I guess everybody and saying just get into it, learn what you can, and Andrea saying, you know, try it. You do your learning, you learn as much as you can, try it. But if you're still not sure, reach out and ask. I think my biggest one is don't hold back. Reach out and get out there and ask. That's what being a group is about, and it's we probably held back for a long time. But I would say don't spend too much time getting out there. Doesn't matter if you're shy or not. There is always questions to ask. You can never learn everything all at once, and you can't expect it to be able to do that. So you know, even if you think you know it, and sometimes you don't, always reach out and ask in the groups.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a question asker, and so for me, I'm always the first person with my hand up, and so I don't really understand when people don't. And then after I find stuff out, I'm like, why didn't you ask? So yeah, I really, really, really like that. Ask a question, and I'm sure Angie's writing all this down. She writes everything down. George, what's your tip? And we got to roll. Like 4 minutes over the hour.
Yeah, the biggest thing is to listen to people, what they're saying. And I think the number one thing is to just ask questions. Even if you think that you may know the answer, just get someone else, run it by someone else in the IGNiTED group. I mean, it's a small group, and like everyone supports everyone, and yeah, it's just people will help you out. Just ask a question.
Like even the brainstorming, right? Like maybe they don't know either, but they have an idea or they have a thought, and so then it's just like it becomes a brainstorming session. And but you're right, they can't help you if they don't know where you're at, right? So people have to know where we're at, and sometimes that means vulnerability, and that means saying, look, I kind of don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, and it's a little bit, yeah, sometimes uncomfortable to do that, but okay, I like it. So be vulnerable, ask the question. Love it. Okay, we pre-recorded this because we couldn't get it to go live on the spot. Thank you guys for your patience. You waited with me for like 20 minutes while we tried to figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. Thank you guys. We will see most of you at boot camp. And we are really looking forward to that. Thank you, Fearless, for joining us, for sticking with us. Guys, it is possible in this market right now. These guys are doing these things right now, and they're doing it as a response to, notice it's not the typical buy rental property, hold it for 25 years. They're doing these things as a response to the way the market is right now. But is it possible to still be doing these things in real estate right now? Yes, it is possible. People are doing it. People are winning. People are doing well. It is possible. So hopefully we inspired some hope in you. If you're joining us in boot camp this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Thursday, Friday, Monday nights, and Saturday for a couple of hours as well. Then we will see you then, and we will see you next Tuesday for Q&A. Okay, everyone, cheers. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.